Well, it's good to have Apple Week upon us. Apple Cup Week, I should say. I think it's an exciting time for the both programs involved and for the state and for people to rally around the game. It sets the stage for a great setting in Pullman at Martin Stadium. I think two teams that have steadily improved as the year's gone on to set up for a tremendous clash come Saturday afternoon. You know, I think back to last year at this time, and not really having been involved in this rivalry, but been involved in previous rivalries, and I really tried to last year jump into this rivalry with 2 feet, and I think I got a pretty good taste of it last year. Obviously, it was a tremendous win for us and a great way to send our seniors off in the rivalry, and you know the hope is that we can do that again for our seniors this year.
Coach, how soon into that final drive did you decide you're going for the touchdown no matter what?
When we got on the 1 yard line, to be honest with you. You know, that decision was based on the situation of where we had gotten to. And I just felt like as the drive went on, that was our most productive drive of the day, where we executed as a group. Where we did different things within the drive. We threw the ball, we ran the ball, the quarterback runs, the fly to Jesse. There was a lot of variety in the drive. I thought we had executed extremely well to get to that point. And so I felt like the momentum at that point, by the time we got into the one, was really on our side, and that we were playing our best football at that time. And so I just wanted to take advantage of it.
If you're at the 2, let's say, do you do the same thing? I mean, was it
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's nice to say, for us to say, well, it's the attitude you want the kids to have since you got here and everything, but it really was a spur of the moment where you were deciding.
Spur of the moment, yes, but calculated also. You know, we've been preaching, especially this year from the very beginning before training camp, about our ability to finish on the road in a hostile environment with all of the elements that come into the game, and that preaching that and trying to get that accomplished was really going to come down to these final 2 games. And our ability to finish in these final 2 games was really going to define who we are as a football team this year. And so I thought that was a perfect opportunity for us to seize the moment, in a sense, and define who we are. And a real tribute to our 11 guys that were on the field to get that play done and to execute it. And it's a real tribute to the rest of our team and the way we prepare, the way we practice for those moments to be able to perform like that.
The play on 4th down, did you kind of have that in mind, like prior to 3rd down?
Yes.
When you had some time to think about it afterwards, did you reflect on maybe how gutsy that call really is in the grand scheme of things?
I try not to worry about the what ifs. You know, I really don't. I just think that at the time, where we were, the drive we had, you know, you settle for a field goal there. In a sense, it's defeat. You know, that they won that drive, and that was our best drive of the day. And I didn't want to give them, heading into overtime, the satisfaction of they stopped us on the 1 yard line with our best drive of the day. I felt like we had enough momentum going, and we were executing at a high enough level. The look in our kids' eyes was such that we were going to go get it done.
Why didn't you go to the play with Chris on 3rd down?
Because on the sneak on 2nd down, I was surprised we didn't score, to be honest with you, on the sneak on 2nd down. So I felt like, man, we were getting enough push quarterback sneak-wise that let's give it to Jake. He had a great drive running the football for us. And if we didn't make it, I had already had in my mind, if we sneak it, we shouldn't lose more than maybe a half a yard. So I know I'm going to go for it on 4th down anyway. So let's sneak it again. If that's good enough to score, it is. If not, we're still in position to run a play that I think is capable of scoring with anyone on 4th down.
Even as that play developed, could you tell, was something wrong with the snap on there? Or did Jake tell you at all?
I don't know. I felt a little bit like, you know, and I had a pretty good view of it on 3rd down, that they kind of jumped our snap count a little bit, jumped our cadence, which caused kind of a pile-up right there on the snap on the quarterback sneak. And so I think that was part of the reason why we went to the quick count on the 4th down play, to not let them jump off on our snap count.
In the design of the fourth down play with kind of shuffling the lineman over, was there something you saw in what Cal was doing or had been doing?
No, we just assessed it. You know, on the second down play, we were in a very similar formation, really the identical formation up until the motion by Sylvester. So we had a good idea of how they were aligned, and they were aligned up and tight in the A gaps to stop the quarterback sneak. And so it created an opportunity for us to really kind of cave down the one side and get Chris on the perimeter.
Why is that play called God's play?
Well, I think that's just in football speak that the power play is kind of a it's the one play. If everyone said, man, that's the physical run play in football is the power play, and so I think it's kind of taken on a life of its own. You go ask any offensive line coach in America, what's God's play, and he's going to tell you power. For whatever reason, that play has earned that label, and our kids kind of enjoy calling it that. You know, that they've adopted that as well.
In the timeout, you called the entire team onto the field. What was the point, and what did you say?
Well, I wanted to make sure that they understood what we were doing. First of all, that we were going to go for it, and why we were going for it, and to get back to the point of finishing, not only finishing that drive, but that game and this season and everything we have been talking about, and that's why we were doing it, and doing it because we had an opportunity to seize momentum at the time, and just to get us all on the same page. You know, I win or lose at that point, I wanted to make sure we had all 70 players plus our coaching staff and extraneous people that are on our sidelines with us, understanding what we were doing, why we were doing it, and that we were all on the same page and doing it together.
What does it mean for you in the program that the Apple Cup week has relevance beyond the rivalry?
I think it's great. I think it's great. And I think it's even beyond our program. I think it's great for the state of Washington. I think it's great for Washington State. That there's something really to rally behind just over the bragging, more than just the bragging rights of it. Because that's what makes rivalry special. That's what makes college football special. The pageantry, everything that leads up to these rivalry games that really mean something. And I think that for us, as we continue to move forward, for our players to be put in these situations that can be stressful if you make them stressful, and how to learn to deal with them, because hopefully we get put in more and more and more of these as we grow as a program, that it means a lot. There's no doubt.
Sixth win to the bowl eligibility. Where was that at the start of the season as a goal for you guys?
Well, I think, obviously we'd all like to go to a bowl game, but more than that this week is playing the Apple Cup, and I don't want to lose sight of that. I don't want to say we're going to play Washington State to get to a bowl game. We're going to play Washington State for the Apple Cup, for everything that households get divided amongst the state of Washington for. It's playing your rival in what could be a setting that is extremely unique with the weather and all the things that could go into this thing. Let's make sure we don't miss this opportunity and miss what this experience is going to be like. And if we're fortunate enough to win the game, then we'll go celebrate being in a bowl game. But until then, we're focusing on playing our rivals in a great setting.
Coach, you said you've experienced some earlier rivalries in your career. How would you compare this one?
Well, this one is similar to when I was in college. To me, when I was playing at BYU and you'd play Utah, I mean that state truly gets divided. It's households are divided. It's brothers, it's marriages, it's siblings, it's all of that gets divided, and that's very similar to this rivalry. Similar to SC UCLA as well. But there's so many more people involved in LA that sometimes the rivalry can get a little watered down. Here, it obviously the importance of it is because the majority of people living here is either a Husky or a Cougar, and that's what makes it so special.
Of course, you would have loved to blow out Cal, but the way you win to set up this week, the emotional.
I would have taken a blowout. Really, trust me. A little less stressful on everybody involved, but. This, I think, setting up for this game, it sets up for quite a bit of excitement. Capping off the last game, and obviously Washington State coming off of their last win, has a lot of excitement in the air.
Zenio got hurt on that final play. How's he doing? What happened?
He's been in a boot. He'll be in a boot again today. He's made tremendous progress. I'm not going to declare him playing Saturday yet, but the progress he's making is very encouraging. Hopefully we'll get a little better idea tomorrow as the treatment continues.
It's just a sprained ankle, though?
Yes.
How's your punter?
He should be okay. I think he'll be fine. It was just back spasms. He had a tremendous day up until that point. I think the first one was an 82-yarder. But it was really neat to see Cody Bruns step in. And, I was thinking about Cody Bruns in the game. He returned punts. He held for field goals. He punted, and he played wide receiver all in the same game. So sometimes, those guys can go unnoticed, because we're always looking for the flash, the big plays, the Jermaine Kearse, the Chris Polk, the DeAndre Goodwins. But, a lot of guys have big roles on this team that sometimes can go unnoticed.
Steve, one thing.
Right now, with Tolar being able to come back and play this week, it'll be Eric Kohler at left tackle.
Steve, the one thing that you've heard about Washington State while they've been losing is that they play hard for their coach. When you would scout teams with 2 or 3 losses while at USC, how much stock did you put in that when you were breaking down film, effort, things like that?
Oh, huge stock. I'm almost a bigger believer in that than just talent. Because I think that speaks volumes to the character of a team, in the way they play and the way they approach the game. And Washington State plays hard. And as we've touched on here, and I've touched on after the game, when we take the field or whomever takes the field, it's not always the best team that wins or the most talented team that wins. It's the best team that day that wins. And I appreciate teams that play hard and with great effort. It's something that we try to preach and we pride ourselves on here. And I think Coach Wolf has done a nice job of that there. They go out and they play hard.
Aside from a bowl game, have you ever been in a situation where a team's had 3 weeks off?
No, to be quite honest with you, no. I remember one year I feel like we played UCLA, and it was a similar situation, but I don't know exactly the date and time of that.
Does that one a concern of you kind of don't know what to expect?
Yeah, but I think in all rivalry games, you kind of go in knowing that to expect somewhat of the unexpected in a sense. And that's what makes rivalry games so unique and so fun is that, there's people pull out all the stops in these games. And to have 3 weeks to prepare, obviously they could change a lot of things, but then you look at the other side, why change when you just played your best game versus Oregon State? So, we'll game plan, we'll prepare, and we'll have a good plan, and we'll play hard.
When you were at USC, what did you tell your players about playing late season in Pullman?
We never played very late in Pullman, to be quite honest with you.
Sark, how much can you take from last year's game considering their personnel changes and the kind of the metamorphosis of that team?
You don't take a whole lot because schematically, defensively, they've changed. They were a big odd front team, especially late in the year last year because of injuries. They're back to a lot more traditional 4-down stuff. Obviously, at quarterback, having Toole in there, having Wilson added to the offense. That you take some of the emotions from that game, but the reality of it is you got to judge Washington State on this year's team as compared to last year's.
Steve, when Jake decided to come back, he made no secret that he wanted to play in a bowl game, a big reason why he's coming back. What does it mean to you just knowing that he still has that chance?
I think it's special. It's special for him. Obviously, with all of the kind of ups and downs we've been through this year, his injury, some of the devastating losses that we've taken, to show the resiliency that this team has shown, that he has shown to battle through injury, just to get to this point. I'm happy for him because this is why you play college football, for games like this. And so for Jake and for all of our seniors to have this opportunity, something that they haven't had in their career, I'm excited for them.
The chance Sean Parker's back this week? Or?
We're hopeful. We're hopeful. Again, but we're not going to rush this thing. If he's healthy enough to play, we'll play him. If not, we're not going to push him out there.
Steve, you seem to run a tight ship. How soon after the Cal game did you say, no trash talking this week with your players, or have you even mentioned it to them?
To be honest with you, I haven't mentioned it to them. We're at a point now where the message has been very clear from day one, and we haven't wavered on opponent versus another opponent. And I think our guys are very respectful of Washington State and who they are and the way they play and their style of play. And they understand it'll be a very physical game and that it's going to take a great effort out of us to get a win.
I'll remind them of that this week.
I might touch on it, but it won't be something I'll dwell on.
Sark, have you talked to any of the players on the team that experienced the game in Pullman 2 years ago? And their thoughts?
No.
Since you've been here, Paul Wolf has kind of taken some shots for what he's doing over there. Do you have, as a fellow coach, do you have any sympathy for kind of?
I have a great deal of sympathy is a good word to use, but I have a great deal of respect for coaches in general because it's not easy. We all fight the fight, and it's definitely not easy when losses begin to mount. I think it's a little easier when you're winning, and winning is contagious. Unfortunately, so is losing. Losing can become contagious, and to continue to get up early in the morning and game plan and try to motivate young men who are distracted by whether it's school or off the field things, and to get them to come and to work into battle. I think that's why I have so much respect for Paul and his staff, because when you look at the film, his kids play hard, it's definitely not easy.
When you guys went back to the East Coast with the coaches for Pac-10 Media Day, how much did you try to get to know him or talk to him at all?
We got to know each other extremely well. Our wives got to know each other, and he's a good guy. He's a good guy, and he's a good football coach.
Anybody grade out well defensively?
Well, it's the kind of the typical crew there. When you start, you talk about our defense. The first guy you point at is Mason Foster. He's just a tremendous player. Had a great game. Thought Nate Fellner, obviously the numbers bear it out, but he was around the ball, really active again. Thought Alameda and Everett up front had nice games. Victor really flashed, had some nice plays, and then at corner, Quentin Richardson's playing at an extremely high level right now. He obviously had the interception. He had another play on the deep ball where he knocked the ball away, had a big hit on a slant route, and he's playing good football.
Obviously something, being from the state of Washington, something that you watch every year and you follow, and you're always on one side or the other. And it was a game we paid attention to when I was little.
You were a Husky fan from childhood?
My godparents were huge Husky fans, so they always kind of pushed the Huskies on me and made sure that that's who we were rooting for on Saturdays.
If you had to put a percentage on it, Jake, how healthy are you, and how much does it hurt? What hurts you the most when you're out there moving around?
I feel, I'm just sore, general soreness. I don't have really any pain. And it felt pretty good for the most part. Took one hit, hurt a little bit, but it was, I thought, really good. Felt like I was able to do everything I wanted to.
Anything else?
How do you feel about the prospect of playing in such cold weather over here with possible snow?
That's not a big deal. I've grown up here and, practiced a whole bunch in high school when I was young, played in that weather, so I'm not worried about it.
Anything else from the conference line?
Yeah, I got one. This is Vince Grippy from the Review, Jake. I wanted to ask you, I know you guys have a little fraternity of quarterbacks, so I was just wondering what you thought of Jeff Sewell's play this year.
I thought he's done a great job. He's really made some plays for him. I thought, when you watch film, you obviously are seeing other guys play when you're watching the defenses week in and week out. So had an opportunity to watch some of their games, and the one thing that I think really stands out with him, he's throwing the deep ball really well. He's been able to create some explosive plays with some of their receivers down the field, very impressed with how he's been able to do that.
All right, we'll take questions from the folks who are here in person. Thank you.
Hey, Jake, Coach was just talking about the fact that We didn't want you guys to look ahead and that if you guys win in this Apple Cup, it means that you guys will end up going bowling. So let's focus on the fact that it is a Apple Cup. Why is the Apple Cup so big to you?
You know, for a lot of reasons, but I think this year, like you touched on, because of its importance, it is, you know, like a coach just told us, he told us 3 weeks ago, each game now, you got to treat it like a playoff game, where you lose, you're done. And that's really kind of the reality of it now. And, you know, there's a lot of excitement around the game year in and year out just because it is Apple Cup and it is a rivalry game. And a lot of people want to make it bigger than just a football game. But, you know, for us as a football team now, it is a big one for us, but one that I think, you know, we need to approach the same way we've approached, especially these last 2 weeks, and just get prepared really well, understand what we're doing offensively and defensively, and go out and have fun and play fast, and, you know, let the results take care of itself.
You have Cougar friends, and this week they're just not friends?
I have a Cougar cousin. But no, you know, it's not. You know, I'm not gonna talk to him or hate him this week. You know, I just followed him all year and you know, wished him the best all year and you know, a little different this week because I don't wish him as good this week. But no, you know, it's not like that. I think you ask any player, you're not gonna you know, hate those guys and those people that you've had in your life all your life. It's just hoping that we come out on top this week and not them.
Rivalry aside, though, bowl eligibility is a mark of improvement and has to be some obvious relevance to you. Can you talk about that?
Oh yeah, I think obviously has been a goal of ours since the beginning of the season, and something that I believe is every team's goal going into the year, to be able to play an extra game on their schedule, and yeah, I think it would mean a lot to this program, a lot to this team, and a lot to the players on it.
Jake, is there added importance for you because of coming back and everything? It seemed like that was a big motivation to come back.
I think no more than anybody else. You know, everybody in that locker room wants to make it to a bowl game, and I don't believe there's one or two or three guys that want to more than anybody else. You know, that's what I've really been impressed with. To a guy, practice in the game, everything. You can see the sense of urgency and how much it really means to everybody on this football team.
To have this opportunity, how much does it make it all worth it, this whole senior year and coming back?
Oh, it's awesome. You know, you couldn't ask for more. You know, you got one game left, and you're playing for the opportunity to make it to a bowl game, something that, you know, for me and everybody on this team hasn't ever got to experience. So it's really cool. I think it's going to be a great atmosphere. It's a rivalry game, and it should be a lot of fun.
Have you watched a lot of bowl games during your career here and wondered what it might be like, or do you turn it off?
Oh no, I'm a huge college football fan. I told you guys that before. So yeah, I'm when I go home, I just check the paper, see which game's on every day, because I really enjoy watching football, and especially college football. And so yeah, I'd watch every game. There wasn't a whole lot that I missed when I went home, and yeah, you definitely try and put yourself there, I guess, and you know, they show all the cool specials about what the guys did all week and the events and stuff they took them to, and it's something that, yeah, you wish you could be a part of at some point.
Have you seen video of the Snow Bowl in '92?
Yeah, I've seen that, yeah.
Enjoying the chance maybe to play at something like that?
You know, just another element to the game that I think would bring a little more excitement to it. You know, I don't know if it shouldn't change the way we approach it or prepare for it, but you know, it would be something that would create a little more buzz about the game, I guess.
Jake, where does that moment the other day in a singular kind of fashion, where does that rank in your football experience here?
You know, I was asked that after the game, actually, and when I thought about it, it probably for most people would rank among the top, but you look back at some of the games we've had this year, and it's hard to compete with some of those other ones. So I'd say it's right up there with a couple other finishes we've had this year.
Jake, it appeared in that last drive that you not only elevated your play, but also your competitiveness. Is that something? Did you feel some type of fire within you that on any level that you felt like that emotional side was elevated in those last few minutes?
You know, I was pretty sure, and I think everybody else in the huddle, understood that it's probably the last time we were going to get the ball, and the last opportunity we had to go down and score and give ourselves an opportunity to win the game. And I think that was something that everybody, like I said, recognized and understood. And I know for me, and I probably, you ask everybody else in that huddle, they were going to do whatever they could to get us to that point. And so yeah, if it, was a little bit more competitiveness, whatever it was, I think it was just a common goal that hey, we're not going to go out this way.
That you had to get down to the one, were you thinking, hey, forget the ribs, forget all that stuff, nobody's stopping me? Was there something that you felt inside on those?
Yeah, like I said, it's I told you guys I wasn't going to play if I didn't feel confident in myself and my body, and those are things that, yeah, when the game was on the line like that, you're going to do what you can to put your team in position to win. And you don't think about those things. You don't worry about them. And, honestly, it was an afterthought at that point. I didn't even it wasn't something that went through my head or that I considered during that drive, definitely.
On the big pass to Kurst that set up the last-minute drama, did you feel like you threw a good ball, or did you think he's...
No, I just kind of threw it up there and gave him a chance. I got back in the pocket and saw that they had single coverage on him downfield. I didn't see somebody, but I felt something from my right side, and so I thought I'd just get the ball up and try and give him a chance. A little farther inside than I probably would have liked, but he made a great play on the ball and was able to get us down there with position to punch it in, so that was awesome.